President Buhari meets APC governors ahead of convention. Gets out to Spain on a state visit. Former Imo State governor and APC presidential aspirant Rochas Okorocha facing corruption charges granted bail.
The idea of running away is ruled out. He will fulfill the condition. He has never run away.
More presidential aspirants undergo screening as party primaries draw near. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Ian Ray John, and we're reaching you live from Abuja. Adiola Komiakere joins us from Lagos. Many thanks for joining us. And just before we begin, it's good to know that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for our updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Madrid, Spain, on a state visit at the invitation of the Spanish President Pedro Sanchez. President Buhari was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, Minister of the FCT, Inspector General of Police, Director General, Department of State Services, and other senior government officials. State House correspondent Ted Musambo reports that during the visit, his first since coming to power, the Nigerian leader will also hold a meeting with the head of state of the Spanish nation, His Majesty King Felipe VI. Discussions with both leaders will center on issues of mutual interest to both countries, which will expectedly result in the signing of agreements and memoranda of understanding on a wide range of topics geared towards further enhancing the bilateral relations between the two nations. Such areas include extradition and transfer of convicted persons, mutual legal assistance, cultural matters, cooperation towards fighting crime and enhancing security, as well as issues affecting dependents of diplomatic staff. Also on the agenda are cooperation on energy, trade and investment, transportation, public health and sports development. The president will also be the special guest at an investment forum jointly organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce, Nigeria's Ministry of Trade and the Confederation of Employers. He will be speaking on the investment opportunities in Nigeria and ways of expanding the volume of trade, as well as further collaborating for the development of the economies of both countries. Meanwhile, King Felipe and Queen Letizia of Spain have sent condolences to President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent tragedy in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that the Spanish monarch and his queen conveyed the condolences of the Spanish people to President Buhari and the Nigerian people over the loss of lives. The monarch also extends pain solidarity to the families of the deceased with prayers for the quick recovery of those injured in the incident. And before departing for Spain, governors of the All Progressives Congress have been charged to ensure that the forthcoming National Convention to pick a presidential candidate that reflects all the values and the virtues of the governing party. President Muhammadu Buhari, who threw the challenge at a crucial meeting with the governors, insists that the positive qualities of the APC must come to play at the convention. State House correspondent Ted Musambo reports that all the 22 progressive governors, except that of Kaduna, represented by his deputy and the national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, attended the meeting. The president, who noted that the success of the primaries, he said that the overall objective must be the victory of the governing party, and therefore the choice of candidate must be someone who would give the Nigerian masses a sense of victory and confidence even before the elections. The chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, said the party must build on the successes of its recent elective convention and the primaries conducted so far, and come up with a candidate who will walk in the footsteps of patriotism and love for the country. He pledged that APC governors will support the president to have a very successful convention next week. In other news, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has appeared before the All Progressives Congress Screening Committee to be screened ahead of the June 6th presidential primary, insisting that APC is well ahead of other political parties. State House correspondent Jiduni Fade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo arrived at the Trancorp Hilton Hotel venue of the screening a few minutes after 1 in the afternoon into the waiting hands of his teeming supporters. The screening was done behind closed doors, and the Vice President spent over an hour with the screening committee.
Able to discuss several issues of national and party concerns, and went very well indeed. We had a very good chat.
The screening of the presidential aspirants started yesterday with 12 out of the 23 aspirants screened. Some others, including the vice president, also presented their credentials this Tuesday for screening ahead of the party's June 6th presidential primary election. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso has appeared before the new Nigeria People's Party Screening Committee in pursuant of his presidential aspiration. Addressing journalists after the exercise, Senator Kwankwaso expressed optimism that the party will come out victorious in the 2023 general election. David Irie reports.
Senator Kwankwaso's arrival got the attention of the party hierarchy, not just as a leader, but also as the only presidential aspirant. He was greeted by the screening committee behind closed doors and later addressed the press with high hopes of winning the general election.
And over the years, I have been screened and screened. We know ourselves, and Nigerians know all of us. I can assure you that most Nigerians have made up their minds on what they do, on the parties that have already produced their candidates, even those who are yet to produce their candidates.
He's not in power now, but he is already working for the betterment of our people.
He has been a senator before. He can understand how they function. He's not coming to learn on the job.
The party leader said the credibility of the aspirant as a means to sell the party to Nigerians. In Abuja, David Irie, NTA News.
Still talking politics and on the primaries, President of the Senate and one of the presidential aspirants for the All Progressives Congress, Ahmed Lawan, has been screened by the party's screening committee. Senator Lawan arrived at the venue of the screening in company of some members of the National Assembly and other party members. Speaking to journalists after the exercise, he said he's satisfied with the process and ready to bring the desired change Nigeria needs when elected.
I have gone through the mills. I've worked before I came to the National Assembly in 1999. In 1999, I came to the National Assembly, and I'm still in the National Assembly, having served 8 years. In my capacity as Senate leader, in my capacity as President of the Senate, I know the issues of development. I know where we have recorded so much successes. I know where we need to rework, retool, and rekit our systems and strategies and operations. And by the grace of God, if I'm given the opportunity, Nigeria will experience improved education, improved security, improved economy.
Meanwhile, Yabagi Yusuf Sani is the presidential standard bearer of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, having emerged as the consensus candidate at the end of the party's second national convention in Abuja. Charles Alpha reports.
A strong, formidable and credible alternative in the consensus candidate Yabagi Yusuf Sani is what the Action Democratic Party ADP said it is presenting to Nigerians for the election in 2023. 3 aspirants were screened by the ADP screening committee, but in the end, Yabagi Yusuf, who incidentally is also the national chairman of the ADP, was screened, cleared, and elected through consensus to fly the party's flag. The Ekiti State governorship candidate and Kano State counterpart believe together they will achieve all-inclusive government.
It means what is happening here means victory to all of us members of Action Democratic Party today.
If we have been able to help one person with our hard-earned money, paying widows, helping children grow, imparting lives of our women, we'll be able to do better.
The Second National Convention in the end produced a new executive council, state chairman, zonal officers, and the National Working Committee. In Abuja, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And away from politics, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, to the tune of 500 million naira and a surety in like sum. Justice Enyang Eko gave the order while delivering a ruling on the bail application of the defendant in the matter. Dili Atumbi reports.
Rochas Okorocha, Anyim Yerere, and 5 others are the defendants in the 3.1 billion naira alleged fraud preferred against them by the FCC. Okorocha and 6 others are facing trial on 17-count charge, bordering on conspiracy, stealing, and conversion of public funds and money laundering. After due consideration of the arguments and counter-arguments by the counsel to both defendants and the prosecution on the bail applications of the defendants, the court granted them bail. Apart from Okorocha providing a surety to the sum of 500 million naira, Okorocha is equally expected to deposit his traveling documents with the registry of the court. During the trial, the defendant cannot travel out of Nigeria without due notice and approval of the court. The court ordered that Okorocha's surety must have a property in Abuja not below 500 million naira, and the original title documents of the property must be deposited with the court registrar. Justice Enyang Eko also ordered that immigration must be alerted in writing by the court registrar that Okorocha's traveling passport is with the court and as such must not be allowed to move out of the country. The court also granted bail to the second defendant in the matter, Anyim Yerere, on the terms of the administrative bail granted him by the EFCC.
The client is a notable serving senator, so the idea of running away is ruled out. He will fulfill the condition. He has never run away. Only that, like I said yesterday, he was never properly served.
The court was of the view that the second defendant has never defaulted in the administrative bail granted to him, and throughout the proceedings of this case, he has never absented himself.
Justice Eko finally ordered that Okorocha should remain in the custody of the FCC until the bail conditions are met. The case had been adjourned to November 2022 for commencement of trial. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Time for our first break. Please stay. Glad to have you back. Nigeria's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, has assumed chairmanship of the World Summit on the Information Society going on at the International Telecommunication Union in Geneva, Switzerland. ICT correspondent Chindrima Ndubisi reports that this year's summit has as its theme ICT for well-being, inclusion and resilience.
The vital role information and communications technology plays as a veritable tool in driving global economic prosperity and development is being re-echoed at the ongoing World Summit to the Information Society, WSIS. Chairman of the summit, Nigeria's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, emphasized that ICT has helped to retain global interconnectivity and activities, especially the business of governance, even when the entire world was shut down during coronavirus pandemic. Professor Pantami gave an instance of how Nigeria exited recession caused by the pandemic a year earlier than predicted, ahead of other countries due to the deployment of technologies. The nation's ICT sector grew by 14.70% and 12.90% in the last quarter of 2020. The minister therefore called for more support and monitoring of technological development through multi-stakeholder partnerships among institutions and global economies. More than 100 countries are participating in the summit. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Similarly, as the 2023 general elections draw near, media practitioners have been advised to always verify the source of their information, avoid sensationalism, and base their opinions on facts to engender sustainable development in Nigeria. The professor of political economy and management, Pat Utomi, stated this in Abuja, Ogun State, during the celebration of the 2022 World Communications Day. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Speaking on the theme of this year's World Communications Day celebration, journalism of empathy in a troubled nation, Professor Pat Utomi says media practitioners are torchbearers to point the light for people, hence they should ensure that the interest of the society reigns supreme above any other interest. He advised the practitioners to continue to play central role in setting and shaping the public agenda.
It's the ability to learn to centralize in recognition that media affects culture and culture shapes human progress. There's some fundamental values in communication.
In his contribution, the Catholic Bishop of Abeokuta Diocese, Most Reverend Peter Odetoyinbo, says issue-based reportage capable of promoting peace and unity of Nigeria remains the clarion call for media practitioner.
To remind everyone, more importantly, church ministers and communicators, the essence and the importance of promoting the means of social communication.
Be mindful of what to put, what to write, what to broadcast, such that we'll make sure our country remains.
The World Communications Day is an annual celebration that encourages anyone to reflect on the opportunity and challenges of the modern means of social communications. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
And heading to Borno State now, the governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, was in Ran, headquarters of Kalabage local government area bordering Cameroon Republic, to commiserate with mourning communities and families of 30 metal scavengers killed by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists recently in the hinterland. The governor directed the officials to reopen the newly constructed hospital, school, and other social amenities provided in the area. Mohammed Goni reports.
32 persons from Kalabelge were ambushed at a deserted Mudu village in the Kwalakal government area located about 45 kilometers from Ran and were believed to have been shot at close range. Governor Zulum, whose visit to the remote Kalabelge was the 7th in 3 years, sympathized with community members and urged residents to desist from going to deserted villages, especially to scavenge for metal, because insurgents are engaged in searching for the same materials and can lay ambush.
We are here to commiserate with the families of the deceased. Apart from this, we use the opportunity to examine the progress of works that are ongoing in this town.
Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, during the visit, held meeting with Captain Muhammad Haruna Jibrin, the military's commanding officer in Kalabelge, in line with his policy during visit to local government areas, to discuss and identify gaps in security arrangements for the purpose of strengthening them. As part of his visit to the area, the governor inspected essential public facilities and announced 100% increase in salaries for health personnel resident in Ran General Hospital, and further assured that there should be a routine shift to allow them visit their families. Dismayed by lack of basic amenities in Ran, he also gave 2-month deadline for reopening of the completed hospital and schools, as well as completion of any ongoing project in Ran, headquarters of Kalabelge. However, assured him that they will soon complete structures that have reached advanced stages. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
And still on security, the Nigerian army has reacted to a misleading news insinuating that Nigerian villages were attacked by Cameroonian and Ambazonian separatists on 29th May 2022. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, says contrary to the misinformation, own troops deployed at Danare received a distress report on Sunday morning about the said attack. Immediately mobilized to Bashu community, which was allegedly under attack. On their arrival, it was discovered that the information was false, as Bashu was not under attack and no external incursion was recorded. Rather, the separatists attacked Obonyi 2 and Ujasha communities located in the Republic of Cameroon. 4 victims of the attack who crossed over to Nigerian territory were later rescued by Nigerian troops and operatives of the Nigerian Immigration Services. The statement maintained that the incident was not in Nigerian territory, as falsely reported, and urged the public to disregard the unsubstantiated information. The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, is working with the Nigerian Army and other security agencies to develop strategies that will tackle security challenges in the country. The Director General of the Institute, Professor Ayo Omotayo, stated this while on a working visit to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, in Abuja.
I want to appreciate NIPS and urge you not to relent in what you are doing, but to continue. And for us also, we continue to support the institution in whatever way we can.
Professor Ayo Omotayo noted that NIPS has been in the forefront in addressing security challenges in the country.
The problem is not only about physical insecurity. We have the human dimensions to the problem. We have the environmental dimensions to the problem. These are all some of the things that NIPS have been trying to bring up to let every agency bring into plan for Nigeria.
NIPS is built to assemble military, paramilitary and relevant agencies in its forthcoming security week to further develop actionable solutions to emerging security threats in the country. Now, Nigeria and Namibia are utilizing their diplomatic struggle and relations to elaborate a mutually beneficial project for development aspirations among people of the two nations. The two countries, as explained by Namibian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Humphrey Gesieb, need to get into better deals to open up opportunities in trade, production, energy, oil and gas. While expressing optimism about the ideals of the Nigeria-Namibia Joint Commission, the envoy added that Namibia is committed to the actualization of various bilateral agreements.
We also recall that Nigeria has played a prominent role in the OAU Liberation Committee, and that through the efforts of the Liberation Committee, Namibia and the people of Namibia receive substantial support as well as solidarity from the rest of the world.
Foreign Desk correspondent Usman Ali reports that Nigeria and Namibia have maintained a strong relationship since the 1960s. Now time to join Adiola in Lagos for more news. Adiola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Nyere. The Accord Party has nominated members for various positions to contest in the 2023 elections. Annie Daniels reports that the nomination was at the party's primaries held in Lagos.
Unlike what obtained in other party primaries, Accord Party had its primaries indoors.
Because we don't want people to come and disturb. We don't want people to disturb so that we can do all what we want to do peacefully.
There are other primaries going on simultaneously in all the 13 constituency, in all the 23 constituency. So we just concentrate. Those people that are finished, that can come, those are the people here.
At the end, Party faithful nominated candidates for House of Assembly, House of Representatives, and the Senate. Honorable Hakeem Olaogu Dixon emerged the party's Lagos State governorship candidate.
I want to take it over with this Accord Party and hand over to the youth. But the youth cannot be able to do it by themselves. They need somebody who will be able to put them through training, through seminars, workshops, and see how they can be able to deal with House of Assembly, how to deal with people on top.
In other countries, the young ones are going into tech. So right now, it is high time we are able to pass some bills. Right now, we are able to make sure that, yes, the youth are able to take charge, not only in politics, but also in every sector of the economy.
Like the name, Accord Party nominated candidates and faithful promised Lagosians a better and sustainable Lagos if the party is given the mandate to pilot the affairs of the state come 2023. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Now, a distressed two-story building at number 64 Glover Street, Abuja, Lagos, has been demolished by Lagos State government as part of ongoing efforts to check growing cases of collapsed buildings in the state. Adeneyi Taiwo has the report.
This is number 64 Glover Street, Abuja, Lagos, before the caterpillar came calling. Taken over by flood, with several sections already caving in, it was obviously distressed, explaining why it was marked for demolition by Lagos State Building Control Agency, LAFSCA. But despite an evacuation notice dated May 9, 2022, these remaining occupants of the building did not budge until the last minute. Then, man and machine united in battle against the distressed building for controlled demolition in line with the state government's mandate on safety.
There is also the duty of care on us as residents in the neighborhood to make government aware of buildings that are distressed. Because the fact remains that these things may not only affect the people residing in it.
An adjoining building still under construction has also been sealed by the agency.
All identified distressed buildings will be brought down. The resources we are having, we are deploying them as best as we can, using our discretion and making sure we are attending to every situation.
In the last 1 month, this is the 13th distressed building to be demolished by the agency in what the enforcement team described as a preemptive campaign to check wanton loss of lives under the rubble of collapsed building. In May 2022 alone, not less than 14 people died in collapsed buildings in Abuja and other parts of the state. In Lagos, Adeneyi Taiwo, NTA News.
We shall hand you back to Nyere in Abuja, but remember to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on all our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. We'll take a break and Nyere will be back.
Glad to have you back. The federal government is set to put a total ban on the export of raw hides and skins, including leather. This, the government says, will also ban the importation of finished leather products. This came to the fore as the Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, met with the National Steering Committee on Strategic Implementation of Leather Policy in Abuja. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
These locally produced pairs of shoes introduced to the Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar. He rated it as among the best in the world.
Real leather, you can see that. There's nothing Nigeria cannot do, nothing.
And this is why government is pushing to implement two major policies. First is to restrict importation of finished leather products, and the second one is to ban export of raw hides and skin. Professor Muhammad Kabiru Yakubu is the chairman, National Steering Committee of Implementation Plan on Leather. He is here to brief the minister on how Nigerian leather industry will prosper if the two policies are implemented.
We want to ensure that we stop the exportation of anything leather from Nigeria, even fully finished leather. We want a situation whereby we only export products from leather.
As important as leather industry is to our national economy, it has been bedeviled with challenges leading to a declining contribution to the national GDP. Consequently, a steering committee comprising the relevant stakeholders from different ministries, departments, and agencies was set up and developed a strategic implementation plan that was launched on the 6th of July 2021.
The current market analysis of the global leather market is put at $394 billion, and Nigeria is hoping to scoop at least $1 billion from it. Musa Ali, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency, in partnership with the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FRS, has commenced a nationwide public enlightenment campaign on the need for citizens to pay their taxes. Director General of the NOA, Garba Abari, made this known at a media conference in Abuja. Kenneth Nani reports.
In the face of global dwindling economic situation comes the need for adequate revenue mobilization in order to provide the required developmental infrastructure. To this end, the federal government is embarking on an intensive sensitization of citizenry on the need to pay taxes. The FRS is therefore leveraging the widespread of the National Orientation Agency's offices nationwide to educate the public on the dangers of tax evasion.
There is the need, therefore, for citizens to have a reorientation on how they see taxes. That is to understand that taxes are not forced collections by the government, but instead contributions citizens make toward the development of their country.
It is important for individuals and organizations to acquaint themselves with the obligations of the taxpayer. The National Orientation Agency will work with the FRS to produce flyers carrying this information so that it is at the reach of every Nigerian who falls within the tax payment bracket.
The FRS is also taking advantage of the partnership with National Orientation Agency to identify challenges being faced by taxpayers, especially those in the private sector, with a view to solving them. NTA News.
Let's do more business now with Benny Adams, who's right here. Benny.
Thank you, Mary, and welcome to business. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, in collaboration with Abuja Africa and the African Union, have inaugurated an e-commerce platform for value addition and promotion of apparel, garment, arts and craft, cosmetics, and the beauty industry for the global market.
The world is going e-commerce, and so we cannot be left behind. Like I said earlier on, we can't be left behind. What Nigeria has to join the bandwagon and sell online. So we had this collaboration with Abuja Africa to onboard Nigerian products on an e-commerce platform.
This gives Nigerian creatives in the fashion industry, raw materials, textile, gemstones, jewelries, and the rest of them, gives them the opportunity of getting on this platform and sell globally.
And Dashmi Foundation, United States, has announced it has officially received a non-profit with tax-exempt status under Section 501, subsection C of the U.S. Internal Revenue Code. Founder of Dashmi Foundation, Kemi Adeosun, say the foundation is now eligible to apply for government and foundation grants, which will further broaden access to resources and strengthen its ability to raise funds for orphans and vulnerable children, victims of domestic violence and disadvantaged youth. The foundation has so far mobilized resources for projects in Lagos, Ogun, Cross River, Kano, Nasarawa, Imo, Osun, and Kogi states. And on the capital market, investors gained 2.16 trillion naira in the month of May, thereby defying the market's expectations of a sell-off after the coming into effect of the new monetary regime. At the end of transaction on the last day, the all-share index depreciated by 1.45%. The closed transaction at 52,990.28 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 28.567 trillion naira. 318.2 million shares valued at 3.7 billion naira exchanged hands in 5,190 deals. Transnational Corporation, Jais Bank, and Sovereigns led the activity chart in volume and value. That is business news. Nyere, it's nice doing business with you.
Same here, Benny. Let's move on to other stories now. The Federal Road Safety Corps has expressed its commitment to providing adequate training for drivers on the proper use of highways. This is to curtail the menace of road crashes. The FRSC Court Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi walked the talk as he inaugurates Drivers Proficiency Center at FRSC Marshal's Inspectorate Training School, Owa Alero, in Delta State. Ifoma Okafor reports.
The Proficiency Center is meant to equip drivers with modern driving techniques, build uniformity and standard in driving culture, as well as inculcate the right driving attitudes. The governor of Delta State, represented by the Deputy Governor, Dikin Kingsley Otwaro, said the training is pivotal as it will provide drivers with the requisite education skills and comportment.
Most drivers, commissioned driving, are conversant with road signs and safe driving habits. Hence, the proper training and sensitization are pivotal to reducing avoidable deaths on our roads.
FRSC Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi thanked Delta State government for its support and robust partnership with the Corps.
When it comes to driving proficiency center, that means it's to improve your driving habits on the road. We have seen some perceived problems of drivers, and again now, many times the health aspect of the drivers are not checked.
I'm very happy to hear from the Corps Marshal himself that the products we train are already doing a good job with you.
The Proficiency Center with ICT Hall was inaugurated as dignitaries toured the training facilities. It is expected that the training in the school will change the narrative of road crashes in Nigeria. Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
Time for another break. Please stay on. Welcome back. It's few months to the general election, and internal conflicts have remained a concern in most Nigerian communities. Changing this narrative has become of urgent importance, and the Institute for Conflict Resolution is having a one-day seminar in Abuja to set agenda for a new Nigeria. Ekene Undulwe reports.
All across the country, several subnationals are expressing various underlying grievances, and oftentimes these escalate into violent agitations.
The governments in question are
Dr. Ozonia Ojelu, a United Nations diplomat, is saying security-driven approach is only one aspect of the solution, and there is need for increased use of early prevention mechanisms.
If it is true that violence is threatened, you do preventive deployment. We must prevent the violence from occurring. It's no longer enough. It is not acceptable that violence occurs, and then we say to the community, we condone you.
For the expert, peace building in Nigeria should encompass social cohesion, diversified economy, peaceful resolutions, and reconciliation.
If the citizens are not carried along, whatever government is doing or what we are doing, we're wasting our time. So we have to get the citizens to know and accept the fact that we need to build peace in this country.
It is the expectation of the organizers that this will not end as another talk shop, but will set a new agenda for the next administration. One builds on renewed hope for a better Nigeria. Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Let's have a bit of sports now.